information in American Sign Language. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, have created new videos in American Sign Language to help you keep up with the latest COVID-19 news and guidance. Learn how to protect yourself and the people you care about from COVID-19.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sign1News anchor Vanessa Paloma Bajarnik. Here's a quick look at the top trending international news stories in ISL making headlines today. If you post an interesting comment about this update, we may add it at the bottom of the screen. A CNN team in Ukraine says it is seeing many bodies being brought out of a residential building in the city of Uman after a Russian missile strike. Dozens of people were killed in the attack, and rescuers continued to pull bodies out of the rubble. Officials say children are among the dead. Two rockets hit 3 high-rise buildings on Friday. The attack was one of a barrage of Russian strikes across Ukraine. Officials say air defense systems shot down more than a dozen missiles and drones over Kyiv, too. The city still took some damage, but there are no reports of civilian casualties. According to the World Health Organization, nearly 460 people have been killed in Sudan since an outbreak of violence started nearly 2 weeks ago. The number of injured has reached 4,000. But the numbers could be higher. Clashes between the Sudanese army and paramilitary forces now have generals battling out for control of the region. A 72-hour ceasefire was ordered to evacuate citizens. But because food, water, and medicine and fuel shortages, Sudanese people have been left to fend for themselves or flee the country. Police are continuing to uncover bodies at a mass grave in eastern Kenya. So far, 89 bodies have been found, but there are fears that number could rise. Investigators say the deceased were members of a Christian cult who believed they would go to heaven if they starved themselves to death. Police have arrested the leader of the group. The Kenya Red Cross says it has had reports of more than 200 people missing from one town. Singapore has executed a 46-year-old man convicted of attempting to traffic about 2 pounds of cannabis. That's according to the man's family, who confirmed it to CNN. According to the Central Narcotics Bureau, the man was first sentenced to death in 2018 for helping to traffic more than a kilo of cannabis. In the days leading up to his death, family members and activists had made public appeals for clemency. However, the government said that the man was provided full due process of the law. And it described capital punishment as part of Singapore's comprehensive harm prevention strategy. This is Singapore's first execution in 6 months. Scientists analyzed temperature data for the past 60 years. And they have identified the countries with the most risk of record-breaking heat waves. They identified Afghanistan, Papua New Guinea, and Central America, including Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua. These regions are vulnerable due to fast-growing populations and limited access to health care and emergency supplies. Scientists also warn that parts of China, including Beijing, face a high risk from heat waves due to the millions of people who live in these densely populated regions. According to a Harvard University study, unprecedented heat events are becoming more likely as the world continues to burn fossil fuels. Their 2002 research found that dangerous levels of heat are set to at least triple across the world by the end of the century. Former New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern is headed to Harvard University in the United States. Ardern has been appointed to dual fellowships at the University School of Public Policy and Government. In an Instagram post, Ardern said she would be doing some speaking, teaching, and learning. Ardern stepped down as New Zealand's leader earlier this year, after becoming Prime Minister in 2017 at the age of 37. She was New Zealand's third female leader and one of the youngest leaders in the world. She announced her resignation in January, saying she no longer had enough fuel in the tank to contest an election. She bid her final farewell earlier this month with an emotional speech in Parliament. The coronation of King Charles III is just 2 weeks away. The celebration is set to include crowns, carriages, and quiche. That's right. The newest British monarch has chosen the simple egg and cheese dish to be featured on his big day. The official royal family Twitter account released the recipe for the king's quiche. The ingredients include spinach, fava beans, cheddar cheese, and tarragon. The post says the quiche was, quote, chosen personally by the king and queen consort. And they want to encourage anyone who wants to celebrate the coronation to make the dish at home. Then share it with family, friends, and neighbors as part of a countrywide coronation big lunch. The event is set for May 6th at Westminster Abbey in London. Sign1News will be broadcasting international news updates in ISL every Sunday. A big thank you to our Sign1News app supporters. You help make this broadcast happen. You can download the Sign1News app by heading to the App Store or Google Play Store on your smartphone. And you can also watch on Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku.